Hi Libra, it's Jenny here with your January Tarot horoscope for the new year. So we're going to be pulling, so Happy New Year, and we're going to be pulling a card from my Salvador Dali tarot deck and seeing what is coming up for you in January. Cool, that's what's coming up for you in January. It just flew right out. Okay, we have the Two of Coins in reverse. So this is the way it looks like the right way up. So we have this really big, strong kind of Atlas almost fellow, just taking a big breath and blowing out what looks like now into these red sort of figures that are around the outside frame of now this yellow frame. This guy's kind of in this background picture. We've got these two coins opposition here. Came out like that. So let's see what the Two of Coins has for you. Okay. Two of Coins. New realities, a greater reality. New facts, values, and results are appearing in your current situation. As a result, you will find your perspective shifting. Something that has always been present and possible is becoming clearly visible and gaining special significance. A true change always requires a reevaluation of the old. Your focus in life will alter. Old principles will become ambiguous, formerly important habits suddenly seem questionable, and new tasks are added to old ones. You are in the midst of it all and experience yourself like never before. This is your opportunity to liberate yourself and to let go of what formerly appeared as constraints. You are called upon to see beyond your narrow view of life and to break free from your limited reality, like the red figures in the picture outside the central frame. You are encouraged to undergo a transformation and to expand your frame of life. Yet the card also warns you not to take yourself too seriously and not to puff yourself up or to become the victim of empty promises. You are neither the servant nor the master of circumstance. You have chosen in the past, and you are free to choose again and to put your life into a new context. When your focus in life changes, you will experience unexpected confirmation, but also much insecurity. This is a blessing for the development of your personality in spite of all the difficulties involved. Practical advice. Pay attention to your knees. Do not let them become too soft or too rigid. Your ears and eyes, all of your senses may be playing up for some time to come. This is because all your perceptions are shifting, changing, and expanding as you attain a new focus in life. What is needed now are new results. They constitute your new task and will prove to be your mainstay. Okay, paradigm shifts are coming. How exciting. New facts and values and results are appearing, and as a result, your perspectives are shifting. So, which means kind of, it's a great thing to have at the start of a new year, is kind of an out with the old and in with the new. The facts and the values and things that you saw as being true previously, maybe this past year, might not be true anymore, or there might be new things that are coming and shining a different light on what seemed like a kind of clear situation. Now it's evolving because new facts always evolve the old. So there's no need to then feel like, oh, I must have been foolish for thinking that way previously. It made sense with the information you had at the time, but you don't need to be bogged down and married to that if something new is a brewing, and if you don't feel like this is a kind of I want to change my mind. I know things differently now. I want to do things differently, and that might feel like that'll cause some tension between other people that have kind of been used to you behaving one particular way, or you may have even been invested in a vision or working with certain people on something, and that's no longer really doing it for you, and you want to switch. So there might be feelings of tension of people feeling like they're let down. But if you're doing this in integrity and authenticity to where you are and where your values are, somebody will come and fill that hole. It's not necessarily your responsibility to tend to all of that, though still be respectful and in integrity. So there's this is really spicy and exciting, because moving into a new paradigm kind of comes with feeling like, ooh, everything's shaky now. So doing things that we're used to, being in routine, being in a comfortable paradigm where we know the rules, it's a lot easier to feel like you're in control. You've got some mastery, you know the way things are, and you've been able to predict the results of your actions based on previous experiences or work, because you're kind of doing the same thing. As soon as you do something new, you're going to get new results. and you're not necessarily going to be able to look back at a vast history of knowing how things go because it's all new now, which means there's going to probably be lots of new rooms for mistakes. And you might be really like not excited about that. But new mistakes means new growth and new results. If you're at a point where you're never making mistakes anymore, you're probably just doing the same old thing. So trying to feel confident and connected to the fact that you're not probably going to feel like you really know what's going on for a little while. And that can be exciting and terrifying. And so if you can kind of like, lean into the exhilarating factor, like this with this card of this guy kind of blowing this big wind. I personally love windstorms, and like that feeling of like there's this force that's bigger than you. It's exciting. It's fresh energy. It's a little scary. Like it might break things up a bit, but there's this on the edge of between fear and excitement is this exhilaration. And that's usually what something new is, because you don't know what's coming. So this also might feel like, like switching tracks. Like you even may have like thought you had a really good goal, and the Capricorn season is all about like working hard, manifesting, and doing tangible goals to get something. So you may find that like feel like you need to switch tracks from what your goal previously was, and you might feel a little like, oh, am I just leaving? Am I just quitting? Or like, should I have just finished this and kept going to the end anyway because that was my goal? I'm like, yeah, you can if you want, but also if you have a new vision and that one's kind of paled now and doesn't seem that important, it's not giving up to switch to that which really matters to you. It's a new commitment, and that new goals are like, that's okay to kind of switch things. And like that's fine. So even if that makes you feel like you're a little bit behind, or you are, that's okay. You can start fresh wherever you are, and your goal of success is going to be there anyway. And you can always come back to things like this. Sometimes our values cycle through, and there can be this sort of mechanical feeling of like, I have to finish the thing to the end, instead of thinking I can go this far, and then maybe my goal can switch and I can go this far, and then maybe it'll switch back, and now actually maybe I've gained a new skill or mastery or connection over here that's going to actually make it even richer when I go back to that which was important to me before. Like you don't necessarily have to build in a straight line. These might still be all connected. In a retrospect, it's easier to look back and say, oh, I see how that thing that seemed like a tangent really, really fit into this main narrative as well. And so like you can have that faith and trust that putting something down doesn't mean you're throwing it away. So the work that you've been doing that has been important up till now might still be important. It's just not what you're going to work on right now. You might still get to come back to that. So yeah, if some of you are like, but I really liked this thing or want this thing, it may still be there for you, and that's okay. Which is also important in terms of if these previous values involve other people. You don't necessarily want to like burn bridges or be rude or throw people away or abandon them to go and do something new. Like still maintain those relationships and support, without being, again, you're not the servant or master of circumstance, and you're not the servant or master of somebody else as well. So you don't want to like really leave people in the lurch. Keep those relationships comfortable and open, but still be moving towards what it is that you want to be doing. So it's even funny, just this phrase that says, pay attention to your knees, do not let them become soft or too rigid. This flexibility involved, like when you think if you're entering into new like shaky ground, what you want is to be like solid, but still able to handle the shocks. You don't want to tip over, but you don't want to break. And Capricorn season, which we're in until towards the end of the month, Capricorn rules the knees. So it's all about strength and endurance, but there needs to be a bit of flexibility too, in order to not break. So even if you find like, physically speaking, you may be like, oh, like your knees even physically might be a bit of a dodgy time right now. And so just doing what you need to do physically to take care of your body, but tie that as well. Like it's great to if you are connected to the body and the symbols of what the body can mean for your mind as well. So if you're getting some knee pain or feeling weak or something, maybe there's also a sign of, okay, what in your life, what kind of structures or support systems feel a bit shaky? Are there areas, how are you doing for financially? Are you kind of like little shaky knees there financially, or too rigid and never going to spend or save, like just really rigid on how you view that financial support can be tied to that sort of feeling of the knees being stable or unstable. Might be emotional, might be familial, whatever it is. You can try to just like look at these patterns that don't just have to be about one thing. They can be correlated to other things. So yeah, this is a great time. Previously, we just had Scorpio and Sagittarius season. Scorpio season maybe brought up a fair bit of conflict, desire, fears that we then got to kind of work with that surfaced from kind of the past or repressed times. And then Sagittarius was able to connect our beliefs and values to that which we've learned about all the stuff that came out. What do we do about it? What do we feel? What are our visions about this? What do we believe about this? And that vision is what you then tie to this now current Capricorn time of goal setting. So maybe that of what just happened kind of in the last few months, that vision is the new paradigm. That vision, holding on to that new realization, is what this card is saying of that vision brought in a whole new set of paradigms that now we get to set goals to work towards, or that may have been an old vision and suddenly we're smoked with another one real fast, that you get to kind of look at them. There is this sort of duality here of the two coins. They can kind of be in opposition. You might have this vision and value that you learned by looking at your past and all of these things that came up in Scorpio season. You may have learned from past traumas or repressed sort of things. You've learned something about that and you have a vision and a belief about it, and that's great. But that might not be what you're heading towards. That might be a piece of knowledge, but you have a different paradigm that you're discovering right now of saying, that's great that I have vision about the past, but maybe that's not, maybe I want to work on a different story. Maybe I've learned a lot about that and I want to put that aside and I want to work to a different empowering story, or I have a different project or something. And so I can actually have more than one vision at the same time, but it's more effective to only be working towards one goal at a time. So you don't have to drop either of these visions, but like you'll just kind of split your energy if you're trying to like do them both at once. So whichever this new paradigm is that is focusing your goal on something, again, you don't need to lose everything else you've learned, but this is what is real for you now in this current moment that you want to be working towards. But you don't want to get too serious about it, as the saying is. Don't take yourself too seriously or puff yourself up. You've chosen in the past and are free to choose again. So there's there might actually be, so Libra, with you, that your Libra sign is the sign of the scales. So about bringing things into balance and equilibrium. And that can be really, really excellent in terms of being able to see multiple sides at once and bring these dualities of vision maybe into balance, of an old vision, a new vision, a vision for you, a vision for the community, a vision for the past ancestry, a vision for the future generations. Whatever you might be dealing with dual visions, and that Libra strength is to bring them into equilibrium, bring them into balance. But balance, of course, doesn't necessarily mean 50-50. Balance is the right time, the right place, the right measure. And it's okay that things tip back and forth as long as the overall equation is balanced. So this was one vision that was important, and now this vision's important. Balance doesn't have to mean everything's the same. And that can also, it's a really great strength for you to be able to see both sides of the coin and feel the justice in all of that. And also to balance your needs with other people's. Libra is the sign of relating with the other, so it's very helpful to say, these are my values, but how does that affect somebody else? Those are their values. How does that affect me? And keeping that balance relationally, which is absolutely necessary for a healthy community. But there also can be that danger of stagnation and being unable to act because of just wanting to keep things level and balanced. And balance is good, but stagnation is not so much. If what is required is movement. So just being aware you don't want to get stuck too much in the back and forth, especially during this Capricorn season, which is a great time to be manifesting. You want to be clear on which vision is what's important right now so that you can utilize this time to really get stuff done. Towards the end of January is when we get into Aquarius season, and Aquarius feels like the big innovation, the big eureka moment, and the big leap forward. So there's this feeling of like freedom and and the next big step, and that can feel really refreshing after what Capricorn can just feel like, I'm just working hard and every day sort of feels the same and I'm not yet seeing the results. You have to have a lot of faith in that Capricorn energy of just faith the mastery will come, faith that the vision can be achieved. And Aquarius is just like, boom, big, big leap forward. And suddenly you can start to feel the payout of what it is you're working for. And suddenly that, like, yeah, there's this kind of injection of excitement and the feeling that, like, oh, something actually is happening. It actually is worth it. And this is where we have this little bit in the card that talks about new results, of wanting new results that'll prove to be your mainstay. Is if, especially for you, if you're starting on a new paradigm, a new path, you can't look at your past experiences to say, well, what worked and what didn't. It all feels new. So you want results to know, is it working? You want feedback to know, okay, these are my goals. What happens from the things that I'm doing and I'm trying? This is all very experimental for you. And so what also might happen, though, towards the end of the month, you may get this quantum leap forward, but that might feel like a big F up. Like, it might feel like really unhappy results you didn't want because you tried something new. So not all of you are going to, like, get the magic on the first try. This is new paradigms, new projects, new way of doing things. So your feedback towards the end of the month might be like, "Ooh, that didn't work." How interesting. And so what you want to do is feel confident that that is the first, that's still knowledge gained, though. And that's the first piece on your road to mastery, is this limit of, like, okay, well, that didn't work, so what does? Or, okay, that didn't work for this reason, I can try harder. I certainly hope you get a big kind of positive leap of results that really encourages you, but in any case, it's new information. It's at least a piece of information you can record on this blank slate of trying whatever's going on in this new paradigm. So do try to be encouraged if for you it feels like everybody else is having these big, like, leaps forward and you feel like you just flopped. They can still be a leap forward even if it doesn't feel like it, because it is experience and knowledge, and that is absolutely important. So do try to hold on to that perspective. And yeah, new things, new paradigms, new year. This is a great time for this. So best of luck, Libra. I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful January, and I'll see you next month.